And there we go. Hey there, hi there, ho there, out there in spray wash land. Ray may join us, may not join us. He is, first of all, he's in Facebook jail because he said something. I'm sure that it was absolutely outrageously not meaning of anything. You know how that goes, where they just man, I'm surprised. You know, sometimes you hear about why somebody's in Facebook jail, and it's like so insanely stupid. And it's like,
what was
is
it
there
that got him in there this time?
So Trevor Shamlin apparently made a post about, somebody stabbing him, in the back. That was a good close friend of his, and, surprised that it had happened, whatever. And so I'm not exactly sure. Ray told me what it was that he had posted, but it was something like, sounds like you need to stick it to him or something like that, and that was what did it.
I think I saw that. Yeah.
That's what got him the boot, kind of, or they got him in Facebook jail. So anyhow, that's just the way it is. So anyhow, good evening, y'all. So Chris Kunze has been on our show before because the last time he had broken his ankle. And so this time it's a little bit different. And so we wanted to kind of talk a little bit about what is the most important thing in business, right? And so that's kind of the reason that we headed down this path, is that for a lot of us, the most important thing, making money, spending time with our families, all these different reasons that we become business owners. And most of them are, things for better quality of life and better quality of life with our family and, being able to enjoy our retirement years and, just these different things that happen. Well, Chris has a birthday, what, in 2 days from now, Chris? Yeah. And
Wednesday.
so happy birthday, first of all. And we're glad that you're going to be here for your next birthday, because Chris Kunze had a what's commonly referred to as a Widowmaker heart attack. Chris will be 37 years old. Okay. Not that we're all needing to worry about having a heart attack and that sort of thing. That's not what this is about, but it's more about, things that become unexpected to us. So Chris, tell me a little bit about what happened.
So I was dealing with chest pains for about a month or a month and a half before I actually had the heart attack. I had went to an urgent care near me. I would say about a month and a half before, with chest pains. So they did an EKG and stuff. When I was there, they told me that there was abnormalities on it. They actually wanted to send me to the hospital by ambulance at that point. Well, I had the truck and the trailer with me. So I told them, I said, look, I live a half mile down the road. I'll drop the trailer off and I'll go straight to the hospital. So I had to sign a waiver, that it was against medical advice.
AMA.
So I went and dropped the trailer off and then drove to the hospital. So I got there. They did the EKG. They did a chest x-ray. They did blood work. And then I sat in the waiting room for 18 hours.
Wow.
They didn't do anything. So after 18 hours, I walked up and I told them, look, if I'm not going to drop dead, I'm just going to leave.
Now, that wasn't this time, right? That was the last time.
Yeah, this was a month and a half before the heart attack.
Right.
So they told me, your EKG, that there is an abnormality, but, your phone could have went off. You could have, based off my age, they didn't take it serious. Mm-hmm. And then they said my blood work was fine and the chest x-ray looked fine. So I was like, all right, I'm out of here. Went home. About a week or two later, it did it again. I went back to the hospital. I sat in the waiting room again for 16 hours, I think. And just same ordeal. So then fast forward to December 2nd, I went to my shop. I picked up the trailer. I pulled out onto the main road from my shop, and I had this crazy compressed feeling in the center of my chest. Best way to describe it is basically like an elephant sitting on your chest. And then right up the center in the same area. It felt as if somebody took like a lead pipe, stuck it in a coal fire for an hour, and then stuck it up the center of my chest. So at that point, I really started to get worried. It wasn't like any chest pain I had felt before. So I pulled over into the gas station, and I kind of waited a couple minutes to see if it was going to subside or go away, and it didn't. So I messaged the customer, and I was like, I don't know what is going on, but I'm not going to be able to make it today. Either me or my wife will keep you updated. No problem. So then it still wouldn't go away. It's about 10, 15 minutes into it. So I Googled, what everybody does. And I said, what should you do if you think you may be having a heart attack? The first thing it says is if you have aspirin nearby, hurry up and get it. Don't swallow it. Chew it up like it's candy. And then get straight to the hospital. So I hauled up to the CVS. I ran in there, ripped the box and the bottle open right in the aisle, took 2 out, chewed them up, ran up to the register, paid for it, jumped in the truck, called my wife on the way, told her I was on the way. I was having chest pains. It was completely different than any other chest pain. I was going to drop the trailer off and then go to the hospital. Well, at the hospital that's closest to me, that's the one that, had me waiting almost 20 hours both times. So I told her, I said, I'm going to go to Johns Hopkins. And luckily I did. I went to Johns Hopkins. First thing they did was the EKG. Again, abnormal, stuff on the EKG. Then I sat in the waiting room for about an hour and a half. They came out, they got me, they took me back for a chest x-ray, put me back in the waiting room. About another hour, hour and a half goes by. They came back, they got me for blood work, put me back in the waiting room. About 40 minutes after they took my blood, 2 or 3 nurses came running out in the waiting room, and they were like, you need to come with us immediately. So we're walking through one of the hallways, and I said, this seems kind of serious. And she said, we'll let them discuss it when you get in the room. So we come around the bend, and I look in my room, and there's a horseshoe of people, about 12 to 14 people, all around my stretcher bed.
Wow.
The one's holding up a hospital gown, and the one nurse was like, you need to strip down and get in this immediately. And then by that time, my dad had called me, and he's like, any follow-up, anything? And I said, I'm walking in the room now. I said, just stay on the phone. And then the cardiologist, I didn't know it was him at the time. He goes, whoever that is, they can stay on the phone, but, we need 60 seconds uninterrupted time. I said, okay. So I'm getting the gown and stuff on. I lay down in the stretcher, and he said, listen, you had a heart attack early today, which is what brought you here. He said, but now you're in the process of having a major heart attack, and we need to get you prepped and in surgery in the next 15 minutes, or you could drop dead. So my dad was on the phone. He heard that. So he started vomiting all over his couch and his living room floor and himself, because
Wow.
he didn't know if he would ever talk to me again.
Right.
So they hurried up and got me wheeled up to the OR, and they got me prepped. They ended up going up through my arm, up into my main artery, which sends 50% of the blood to your heart. And it was 99.7% fully blocked. So I was only getting 50% of blood to my heart for God knows how long. I mean, So they immediately had to put the catheter through the buildup and then blow up a balloon and put the stent in there. And that's where that went. And then I was in the CCU for about 6 days before they let me go home.
Wow. CCU is critical care unit instead of ICU, which is intensive care unit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as we discussed earlier, that was that they did tell you that it was a Widowmaker heart attack.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so Widowmakers are Chris and I talked very briefly just ahead of this, but the Widowmaker is what was it?
They're called that for a reason.
Yeah, 6 to 12% chance of survival if you're outside the hospital, and 20 to 25%, I believe it is, if you're in the hospital. So, less than 1 in 4 people actually survive it if they're already in the hospital. So, again, and let me go down this road too. So lifestyle changes. They told you to take and do some lifestyle changes, and this is something that's important to me to get out to y'all. Is that because, look, we're in an industry where, probably 110% of the people smoke. There is no such thing as 110%. We all know that, but I used to smoke when I was younger. But Chris, you were a smoker, correct?
Yep.
And
yeah, I smoked for about 20 years.
Yeah, that's about as long as I smoked. So I was probably about your age when I quit. But and I so funny story. One of my best friends ever. We lost him almost about 2 years ago now. Debris. Anyhow, he had I think it was a brain tumor. They went up. There was no. Anyhow, before that even happened, they he was not feeling good. He went in for X-rays and all that, and the doctor told him, "Look, you smoke so badly that, I really can't get a good picture of your lungs. Can I get you to quit smoking for like 3 weeks just so that I can get a really good picture of your lungs?" And that was as soon as the doctor said it, that was the last cigarette he ever had. And that's kind of the same thing with you, correct?
Yeah. So, so I dropped my trailer off. I was on the way to John Hopkins, and it's about a 35 minute drive from me, which the doctors in the hospital were kind of very surprised that I was driving to the hospital by myself. But the pain actually, I guess the first heart attack had stopped. So the pain actually started subsiding. And I actually literally thought about turning around and going home several times on my way there. Something just, for whatever reason, I just kept driving. Well, I was smoking the whole way there because I was like, God knows how long I'm going to be in the hospital. I pull into the parking garage, and I think I smoked 2 or 3 cigarettes in the parking garage, like waiting, before I walked in. Well, then as soon as I, heard what happened, so that last cigarette in that parking garage was the last cigarette I smoked. They asked me, they could give me a nicotine patch when I was in there. I denied it just because, with that being that close to death and thinking about, my wife and the kids and not having me anymore, it was very emotional. And
I can imagine.
Anything that I can do to help,
so
I'm gonna do it.
Two things on that. First thing is that is the power of your own mind and your willpower, right? We all have the strength and willpower to do darn near anything we want. We can make things happen. It's just a matter of, mind over matter in a lot of circumstances. And sometimes it just takes that one thing to say, you know what, this is crap. I'm never doing that again. And you mentally block it. It's done. And it's over with. And that's the willpower of it. So I want to touch on this one. Chicagoland Softwash is saying, Jesus, man, you look like you are in shape. And I'm going to say that there's a lot of us in this industry that we're in shape because of what we do, right? Go out spraying every day and dragging hoses and doing stuff. And, you think, well, I'm in the best health ever. That doesn't necessarily matter. And I'm really glad that, so I didn't realize also that this was something that had been building up. You knew that there was an issue prior to you even went to the hospital. They just didn't catch it, right?
Yeah. So like Chicago's just talking about, every time that I went in and they took my, my blood pressure, my pulse, everything like that, my blood pressure may be elevated just a little bit, 125, 130, but when I couldn't go to, when they kept me in the hospital the second time for 16 or 18 hours, I called my primary care. I forgot to put that in there. And I went in for a physical. She did all that, ran a bunch of blood work. And she said, you know, you're extremely healthy, you know, you're fit, this, and that. She goes, you're good. Well, if we get the blood test results back and something is abnormal, we'll contact you. If not, come back for a follow-up in 30 days. And then even right after my heart attack, getting into the CCU, based off of my blood pressure and all that, they said, you would never even know you had a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
They said, with how fit you are, and, you know, they didn't know that I was the owner. Yeah, they didn't know that I was the owner of a exterior cleaning company. But, you know, then when I told them, they were like, yeah, well, you got to be, you know, like real active doing that. But it just, you know, it goes to show you can be healthy as a horse and have it. And then there's other people out there that are super unhealthy and don't have any issues.
And so the other thing that you said, and I think that this is extremely important, your spouse also quit smoking with you.
Yeah, so she smoked, obviously going through the stress when I was still in the hospital. But then when they finally said that they were going to discharge me, I believe she smoked the last cigarette either before she came and got me or on the way or something, and she hasn't smoked since either, which is a major help.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, first of all, just not being around it, you know, and then just having that extra added support. To me, those are two things that just tremendously help, you know, that kind of thing. So Michael J is saying, I'm smoke free since September and just came off hernia surgery. What's that?
I said, congrats on the smoke free.
Oh yeah, man, that's awesome. I don't think I could live and do this job every day and not stay healthy and strong now. Yeah, man, congrats on the quitting and staying there. I can tell you for myself, when I quit the first time, because I quit probably 5, 6, 7 times before I finally quit. And I always quit for the wrong reasons. And so, and it's, to me, it's a very difficult thing to do until you tell yourself you're absolutely ready to do this and to quit. So, man, you've had some other things going on. I mean, so not just the broken ankle, but in the heart attack, but didn't you have a couple other things happening to you?
Yeah, it's just been, I mean, the last year and a half's just been kind of hell.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, you're still going strong. You're still,
yeah, I mean, I'm back to work. I'm not, you know, one, it's the slower season. I can't really get on, you know, roofs too much. I did do a roof clean today. I did it on the ladder. And because the customer knew what was, you know, because I had to reschedule. So he kind of knew what was going on. So it was kind of cool. While I was actually doing the roof cleaning, he was kind of, you know, just he stood out front and kind of observed, just in case anything happened. And then I'm due to start cardiac rehab within the next week or two. So that's basically physical therapy and gym stuff that they have you hooked to heart monitors and blood pressure machines and all that while you're working out.
Wow. So this is an interesting question because I had a thought with this as well. So, Chris, are you vaccinated, and are you fully vaccinated if you are vaccinated?
Absolutely not.
There you go. I was curious about that too, because
if I was, I would be blaming this whole thing on that, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and that's the same thing here. I'd be questioning the same because, you know, again, my buddy that passed away, he had the vaccine, and not that this is a political discussion and all this, but you know, he had the vaccine and he didn't feel good after that, you know, and it took about 3 months, and then he just died one night. And I
mean, I got a handful of people that I know, either personally or through people that I know, that were ultimately very healthy, and within 48 to 72 hours of getting the shot, they just dropped dead in their house.
Yeah. Well, and same thing here, where we know several people, they didn't die like right away, but they died from complications of, you one was a cousin that got blood clots from it. They wanted to amputate his leg, but then he passed. And, just all different kinds of things. So that was a question I had as well, because, 37 years old, 36, 37 years old, massive heart attack doesn't necessarily make sense. Though you also, you said you smoked, you didn't eat healthy. And
so it was basically what they've came down with is genetics, definitely smoking, and the basically poor diet. I would say I ate a ton of red meat, saturated fats, sugars, all that stuff, which, my cholesterol was super high and stuff. But, and then I just went Friday to another cardiologist, and I don't even know the name of it or whatever, but there is something in your body that they can test a level of, and it's basically a genetic number, and that number on my scale is kind of high, which can accelerate plaque buildup in the arteries. And that is, there's nothing I can do to lower that number or anything. It's 100% genetic. Now, she said, me naturally lowering my cholesterol, me and Doug, right before we came live, I had to take all my night meds and trying to lower my cholesterol that way. Eating better, not smoking, trying to get on a better sleeping habit also. And, but she's like, not saying 10 years from now, they won't have some type of thing to lower that number. But right now, all they have is like one or two experimental things that they can do, but they won't even do it, and insurances won't even accept it unless the number is
super there,
pretty high, which is mine isn't near that number. It's high for for me, but to get into that program, it's not high enough.
I think a lot of those experimental things, I mean, there shouldn't be any charges. As a matter of fact, they should be paying you.
Yeah, it's experimental. I mean, a lot of experimental stuff they do, pay you to do. But
So Manny is saying sometimes hospitals get things wrong. They almost opened up his 4-year-old son for appendicitis when he had pneumonia.
Wow.
And that is the thing. I mean, they're fallible just like, the rest of us. That's pretty hardcore, that they would go from pneumonia to appendicitis. And hearing that you sat in the ER, or not the ER, but well, I guess you would have been in
the ER
18 hours the one time and 16 hours or whatever. That's just that's insane. But as somebody else was saying, I mean, they're hospitals are trying to watch their bottom line, and you very well could have died in their emergency room as well, just because. I thought, excuse me, I thought that they would be able to detect the heart attack fairly quickly. I mean, based on what you were complaining of, right? Regardless of your age and your physical appearance and all that, just your description should have been, pretty spot to one thing, really. Not being a medical doctor, I was a combat medic, but that got nowhere near to do with this. But for me, that would have been a natural thing. So would have seemed right for them to jump into it. So I'm really, really surprised that it took that long for them to get to that diagnosis. But then they whip you into the ER, like you said, within 15 minutes.
Yeah. So the EKG, like I stated, did show some abnormalities. They the moment they knew for certain, so when you have a heart attack, your body produces troponin, and your normal level should not be over 0.04. So during my heart attack, it got up to 104.4 or something like that.
Wow.
So the only time that level would go above is strictly a heart attack. So the second that they see them numbers raising, they know that you're having or have had a heart attack. And mine, had been going up, and it actually kept going up even after my stent was put in. And that's why they actually kept me for 6 days. I mean, after my stent was put in, they were talking about I could go home as early as 48 hours. But because my troponin levels kept raising for 2 or 3 more days, at that point, they were doing other tests. They were wondering if there was other issues. When they went in with the catheter and they found the blockage, so my other 2 arteries are completely clean, no plaque, no buildup, no clots, no anything. But the main artery, so it was 99.7% fully blocked. But then, so if this is it, and my stent is right in the middle, there's still buildup and plaque on both ends. So that's why I'm on 5 or 6 different medications, ultimately to try to prevent any more buildup to have another heart attack.
Right.
But it's kind of a blessing that I did sit in the waiting room those 2 times for those amount of hours, because if I would have thought I was having a heart attack and I didn't have that issue at that hospital twice, then I would have wanted to get to the closest hospital as fast as possible. Well, that hospital's got so many lawsuits and shit, for people dying, them being discharged, dropping dead an hour later. John Hopkins is the top 5 hospitals in the United States.
Right.
So them doing the surgery to my heart like they did is like just a normal Tuesday for them. When if I was in Baltimore, Washington, I might have not be here on this interview right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're not as quick, they're not as good, they're not anything.
Well, so what was the name of the second hospital?
So the one that I went to, or the other one?
No, the other one, not John Hopkins, but the other one.
It's called Baltimore, Washington.
Okay, so here's the thing. I think if you asked everybody on this live feed right now if they'd have heard of the Baltimore one, they're going to say no. But if they'd heard of Johns Hopkins, I'm going to say probably most people have heard of that hospital.
Oh yeah,
because it is such a good hospital, right? So, I mean, you said, I recognize it. I realize it right off the bat. So,
I mean, when people ask me about what happened, why I went to Johns Hopkins, or, a couple of people have said, well, if you would have went to Baltimore, Washington, you'd probably be dead right now, just because that's the reputation that hospital has.
So Manuel is saying, nothing like doing regular checkups. I'm 44, and after 40, started doing the yearly checkups. Stay healthy, Chris. You're given another chance. God is good.
Absolutely.
I admit I'm guilty of sin. I think it's probably been, I don't even know, 5 years since I've been to the doctor. I don't know. I mean, other than, the COVID stuff, going and getting the tests and, that kind of stuff. I don't go. It's just, that's who I am as a person. I rarely ever go to the doctor unless there's something wrong. I got some things, popping up that, I need to go deal with, and things that I've been knowing about that I got to deal with. But, that's just the way it is.
I mean, I'm the same. I didn't have a primary care doctor until I snapped my ankle in half. I mean, I don't think I saw a doctor for probably 10 years straight.
Yeah. Well, I guess for me, it's been, well, I sold my company 2 years ago, so it's been probably 2.5 to 3 years since I was last at the doctor. Anyhow, one of them things.
Yeah, my whole thing is, your body typically will give you warnings of anything.
As yours did.
Yeah, and most of us, push them off or shrug them off, or, especially when we get in like our busy season, we don't have time to take off to go get the things checked out. And it's like, you can take a little bit of time now, or they'll get, or you might get plenty of time off if you're not here anymore.
So how many kids do you have, Chris?
5.
5 kids. And how long have you been married now?
Going on, no, we just were married 12 years.
12 years. Okay. How old is your oldest child?
So my oldest is 17. My youngest is 2. So I got 2 daughters before my wife.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So part of my point to this is that, what is the main reason that you started your own business?
More availability, to do stuff with the kids, and financial freedom. I planned on being farther, in regards to off the truck and stuff by now, which, that the whole mind shift, this winter, especially definitely after the heart attack and stuff is, and the goals that I'm working on is to get, off of the truck, because ultimately I look at it as if I were to went that day and ended up going up there, I'm not leaving my wife and kids with much at all,
Which brings up one of the things I wanted to talk about, and that is, do you have a life insurance policy?
I do not, which I'm in a process, which now because of the heart attack, it's a little bit more difficult to get. I still can, which I've talked to a couple different companies, but because most people that have a heart attack, typically, if they're going to have another one, it's typically in the first 6 to 12 months. So most insurance companies won't even take me on in a policy until I'm cleared 12 months after a heart attack.
So a couple of important parts of that is that, I mean, we as business owners, a lot of times that's where we're at, right? We do this for freedom. We do this for finances. We do this for, time with our kids, and, all many different reasons, whether it's, I don't want to have kids. I want to have vacations. Mitch wants to go travel the world and all that kind of fun stuff. We want to be able to go and do all these things and have fun and, all that. But we do need to plan for things that could happen, because had something gone on and, you didn't make it, which the odds were totally against you actually making it, like you said, you leave your wife and kids, in a really bad spot for the rest of their lives, even, kind of thing. So, I highly encourage everybody, and you'd be surprised how inexpensive some of those policies are. And there are even policies out there that as you pay into them, you can get your money back, at a certain time when you reach a certain point. I'm not sure how that works, not an insurance person, blah, 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 but lots of different policies out there. And I think I think there's a lot of us that don't have any type of policy. And I almost think it's, the people are going to hate me when I say something like this, but I almost think it's, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, not criminal, but it's just stupid.
It's ignorant.
It's complete ignorance. You're being stupid if you don't have a policy. That's just it. You're stupid. I mean,
I can tell you that the first job that I did after getting out of the hospital, my customer, that is, after the normal questions, how you feeling, glad everything's okay, was, do you have life insurance? And I said no. And he goes, God damn. He said, you may not be able to get it. And so that's when it raised the point. But because of this happened to me, literally 5 to 10 people that I'm like somewhat close to has taken out life insurance policies. I'm healthy. Ultimately, I work my ass off. I'm always on the go, always doing stuff. a lot of people that I know and my family and friends, I would have been like the last person to have a major heart attack and almost
Right.
drop dead. So now it's kind of eye opening to them, you know, like tomorrow is not guaranteed by any means.
If somebody were to have asked me, last week, name 5 people in this industry that you feel like will have a heart attack. Name 100 people in this industry that you feel like will have a heart attack, and go, in order. You'd have never made the list.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have happened. Kind of a thing. I would have put myself on the list way before you. I would have put Ray on the list way before you. I would have put Jacob on. Jacob, you and I need to talk, brother. I'm just saying.
Get off of them energy drinks.
Yeah, energy drinks and all. I've never had I've had a couple sips of an energy drink, but I've never had one.
I used to drink a lot of them, and then so I would drink. So if I had like a long day or something, the little double shot Starbucks.
Mm-hmm.
So now I drink one of those a day, which my doctor and cardiologist said, that's fine. The caffeine's really not an issue because it's the amount of caffeine. They're more concerned about in that double shot. It's like, I want to say 9 or it might even be 18 grams of sugar just in that one little shot. And they're more concerned about the sugar than the caffeine.
Yeah. That makes sense. And so what other dietary changes have they asked you to make?
So red meat is huge. I mean, so they got me eating red meat pretty much once a week, a 4 to 6 ounce serving.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much, it, because it's how much, and it doesn't even matter how lean it is. It's just, it's absolutely horrible for plaque buildup. So a lot of stuff I'm eating now is more of more home cooked stuff that's not in a box.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's all the processed junk, saturated fats, sugars, the sodium, the list goes on. So now it's pretty much like turkey, chicken, fish, and then greens. Instead of white bread, it's like whole grain or wheat.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been eating a lot more fruits and vegetables because that actually can really, really bring down your cholesterol and, help with the plaque buildup. And then there's, other things I'm still looking into, I spoke to a nutritionist at the, just this past week when I went to another cardiologist appointment, and ultimately just trying to figure out, a good balance with decent recipes for not so great tasting food. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Red meat would be a hard one to cut out altogether. I mean, I admit I don't do all that much. I love it. I love steaks. I mean, kind of thing. But at the same time, we don't do a whole bunch of red meats anymore, though we used to. Kind of a thing. So, are you finding? So especially with having to switch your diets to the different foods and the whole grain breads and that kind of thing, have you looked at the increased cost of buying food?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, just the fruits and vegetables alone are ridiculous. I mean, I think just the other night I went out and got some oranges, grapes, strawberries, bananas, something else. And I mean, it wasn't that much stuff, and it was damn near $90. And it wasn't much at all, just for the fruits.
Mm-hmm. So I want to remind everybody, Chris, you're turning 37, correct?
Yes.
Okay. 37 years old. I mean,
and Michael, you're right. Processed crap is by far some of the worst. And that's why everybody's seeing that, heart disease so much higher nowadays, because it's all the processed shit.
food.
I mean, the fact that they can put, fish or meat or something like that, either in a package or a can, and it'd be good for years. Something's not right with it.
My wife still has on the top shelf of one of our cabinets. There are some rolls that she got for, I think it was Christmas or Thanksgiving, and she left them sit out, or she forgot about them somewhere, and like 2 weeks later they were solid, right? They were hard, but they looked perfect. And
Right.
so that's been probably, man, I'm going to guess 10 years now. The 10 years or better that those have been in our house. Every year she pulls them out. Look, they still look awesome, but they're solid as a rock. But that's just the way it is. It's through that processing to try to make everything so that it will last forever. But it's killing us inside.
So I did cut you off. You were talking about 37 something.
Oh yeah, just reminding everybody that you're 37 years old, and you look like you're in the prime of your life. You're as fit as could be. That kind of a thing. And so, just a quick reminder that our focus is our business, right? But why are we here for our business? And looking at those things and making sure that we're paying attention to our bodies and what's going on and the things that are happening and the warning signs, because again, for you, it had been going on for quite some time. Didn't realize that.
What's a CPAP machine?
CPAP machine. I can let Simple Clean jump in, but it's like a breathing device, I believe. So it's for nasal passages and all that kind of stuff.
I thought it was something like that, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah. Let's see. I know one thing. None of us are not making it out of this lifetime alive.
That is true.
There's some truth there. Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess it depends on what you believe, though, too. I think we'll all live forever. It's just we.
Yeah, but he said this lifetime.
This life, yes.
This lifetime.
This lifetime, yeah. There you go. Can you eat venison deer meat?
I would assume so. It would I can pretty much eat anything in moderation, even red meat. I had a steak last week. It was a smaller steak, but it's got to be, especially the red meat and saturated fats and sugars. I was never one to pay attention to nutrition, look at the back of the box, to bet anything. And, as most people on here, are aware, especially during our busy season, the last thing that I want to do when I come home late at night or early in the morning is pack food. Mm-hmm. So I would go from one job and, whether stop at Five Guys or wherever, grab a burger, fries, eat on the way, and then, that shit's a heart attack, in itself. Five Guys with that much grease and.
Yeah, it's something that we all are guilty of, especially when you're running around doing multiple jobs and all that. You're hungry, and none of us wants to pack a lunch with us and do that kind of thing. So it's difficult to eat healthy. It's difficult to even understand what eating healthy actually is. That's difficult in and of itself, it seems like, and there's conflicting things out there as far as to what's healthy for you, and like you said one of the key words, and that's moderation. Everything in moderation, right? We got lots of people who are alcoholics. If you drink, it's okay, but you got to drink in moderation. You got a lot of people that, I'm glad that I quit smoking. I think it has truly helped. If there's one thing I can say that helped the quality of my life, it's definitely the quitting smoking, because I can breathe a lot better. I feel like it, a lot of things that I was having difficulty doing, even though I was in shape, prime of my life, because I was about your age when I quit, all those kinds of things that now, if I hadn't quit, I'd really be in a tight spot.
Yeah. So it's been like I guess it's been like 46 days since I quit. Obviously, I still get cravings here and there, but nothing too bad, nothing. If I get a craving, as long as I do something else or pay attention to something else, it's gone in 2-3 minutes. And honestly, like now I'm not around it like a lot, but I've like walked into a gas station, somebody smoking or something. I don't really like the smell of it anymore. And then I'm on my phone, or I'd show you guys, but I actually have an app. It's called Quit or Die, and it's a smoking app. So it tracks how many packs, how many cigarettes, how much time you've saved by not smoking, whether it's 5 minutes a cigarette or whatever. And then between me and my wife quitting, it's been like 46 days now, and we've saved just under $1,500.
It's amazing. And that right there takes care of the food, the added food bill.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And then it also shows you, like, after a day, after 3 days, after a week, like you were just talking about, smelling and taste getting better, lungs clearing up, 30%, this and that. Like it shows you all the health achievements too. All the way up to like, so after like 10 years, it's like as you've never even smoked in your life. Your lungs and all.
Yeah, it all gets so much better. Chicagoland is saying the Atkins diet had all heart patients eat nothing but red meat to bring their numbers down, and it helped them.
Really? Well, there's your conflicting
eating.
stuff.
I'm in the polar bear mode. Michael J is saying my wife used to say that I was the most important part of the machine. I owe it to my efforts to be healthy and to see it through. This goes back into what I'm saying, like in business. And again, sometimes it's just got to hurt people's feelings because I don't really care. But for us in business, and like you said, you're having trouble getting off the truck. And, I just had I said the same thing to somebody else just the other day. And the reason that you're not off the truck, I can tell you right now, is because the prick that you work for, right? He's holding you back, and you really should fire him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all there is to it. It's the guy that is the most critical guy in your company that's holding you back. And, until you realize that and you get past him, you fire that guy, you're stuck on the truck for the most part. There are some people that keep that guy and still get off the truck, but for the most part, you got to fire that guy that's holding you back. And that is us. And all of this is, to me, it's mind over matter. It's, we are the ones that have to make the conscious decision to do whatever it is that we're going to do, and to make those changes in life. And it's the same thing even in the running of your business side of things, right? You absolutely can find people to work in your business for you. I know it's difficult. I know, but you're the reason that you're not off your truck. And there's a reason why, somebody can be off the truck so quickly. I'll throw Chet Hingle out there. Chet Hingle is somebody that's in our area. And I mean, he virtually started off the truck, right? He never really wanted to be on the truck. I think he goes on the truck sometimes, but for the most part, he got himself a trailer, he got himself an employee, and, hey, let's do this thing. So you can get off the truck. It's just a matter of you getting yourself off that truck.
Oh, it's definitely me stepping in the way, and it's definitely self-limiting beliefs. For sure. Not only that, but I genuinely I really do like the work. I mean,
yeah, that was my hardest part, is that I really enjoyed the cleaning part of it. I would say that I was never 100% off the truck, even though I would be, 99% off the truck. And I would go out and I would do commercial jobs. I wouldn't really do any residential jobs anymore, but I would go out on weekends and I would do, commercial jobs and all that, just because I really, really enjoy washing. And it's therapeutic. I think it helped my soul, to be honest with you. It kept me grounded as well. I enjoyed the working part of it. So there's that. But you have to realize that at some point, it's the same thing with like, I suck at the bookwork. So I had to hire somebody to take care of that bookwork for me because I suck at it. Right? No matter
Yep.
what I do, I'm always going to suck at bookwork because I hate it.
Michael's got more jokes.
What's that?
Did you read Michael's joke?
Did I read Michael's joke?
Yeah, the one that just passed.
Is it this one?
Yeah.
If you hunt, stay away from wild pigs to keep away from bacillus. It eats heart valves.
Heart valves.
All righty. So first of all, I mean, and I didn't mean to skip over any of them, but it's we're on different platforms too. So sometimes we don't even see everything that's being posted. So I don't know. Michael J says, Mitchell says, I really enjoy the cleaning work, but honestly, I love growing my business more now than that. There you go. And you can find, you've got to find that happy spot for yourself, whether it's in the middle or you can own this business and be on the truck 100%, but let somebody else run the business if that's not what you want to do. Right.
Right.
Sometimes, hey, I just love being on the truck. I'd rather be on the truck. I want to grow the business. I want the business to be able to provide for my family, when I retire and that kind of thing. So I want it to grow, but I still want to work the truck. You could do that. You just got to hire the right person for that spot to be able to run your business for you. You should, I should be off the truck, Dougie. I love my Zen washing meditation. That's it. That's it. I think we should all be on the truck, and I think we should all be off the truck. That's how I look at it. It's just a matter of finding your piece. Look, again, if you want to be on the truck, be on the truck. If you want to be off, for me, I guess it's the excuses, right? Every single one of us has the excuses of why we can't get off the truck. And you have to break that excuse. You have to sit down with yourself. Smoking is a great example, right? Myself, I tried to quit so many different times and I failed every single time I quit till that last time, right? But the last time was when I really wanted to quit. And I think it's that way for, the business and growing the business and getting off the truck. If that's what you want to do, you have to find that mindset to finally say, yeah, I'm doing this, and that's it. And it's amazing the changes that happen in life. Plus surrounding yourself with the right people. I think that's another key important factor, that you've got to have people that are going to support you in that journey to get off the truck and support you in the journey of, being the entrepreneur, if you would.
I agree.
Michael is filling it out and saying, Brucellosis is a disease in pig blood that is a real danger to heart patients. Ah, okay.
Learn something new every day.
Learn something new every day. Well, let me ask you this. What advice would you give to any of the business owners out there, not just about the heart and all that kind of stuff, but just in general, whether it's about heart attacks, whether it's about broken ankles, whether it's about getting off the truck? What are your thoughts on business? What are your just anything that you want to share right at this moment with what we got going on?
So kind of like we were just talking about, definitely, what more my direction is this year is building a team. So last year when I had the broken ankle, it was definitely a big financial hit. I was still out on crutches, a knee crutch and stuff, still cleaning, literally like still cleaning, but if I would have had the team in place and all, I could have paid attention more to myself and my health than constantly worrying about on the go, working. And then, just take it easy. Definitely listen to your body. I know so many people that they feel things, or they, whether they have a lump or, in my case, chest pains and just like I did for a while, I'm only 30 something years old. It can't happen to me. It's just, I'm feeling whatever. My biggest thing is, if you guys don't yet, get health insurance, get life insurance, and, ultimately, like I said, listen to your body because it will tell you. It was telling me for a month and a half something was wrong. I was taking action, but unfortunately, the hospital both times they didn't do anything, and then the one doctor, she just gave me like a generic physical and then some blood work.
That's
So
what's the amazing part is that you went to the ER twice, same basic thing, and then even with your doctor, you'd think that, I mean, really it boils down to, to me, I think it boils down to your age, and I think it boils down to your physical appearance and all that. There's just no way you're having a heart attack.
yeah. But the crazy part is they could have seen it. They could have found it then. I could have had a stent put in without ever having a heart attack.
Right.
Now I got, dead muscle and, dead areas at the heart that I didn't have to have if they would have found it a month and a half prior.
Right. And it still, it blows my mind completely. Michael is saying, don't play him in Trivial Pursuit. Nuber is saying, I'm having trouble cleaning a really dirty asphalt shingle roof right now. And then he's following up saying, how many treatments does it take? So to answer that real quick is, dude, go into the Spray Wash Academy on Facebook and ask those questions there and post pictures, because that's a very hard question to answer without knowing the specifics, region, area, all that kind of fun stuff. I'm having trouble cleaning a really dirty roof. So I'm going to assume that it's the gliocaps and magma, that kind of a thing, and that you need to maybe up your percentages. But are you downstreaming? Are you trying to 12 volt? There's so many different questions that come up to what are you doing? How are you doing it? Those sorts of things. What kind of bleach are you using? Where'd you get it from? All those kinds of questions
and how cold is it out?
And how cold is it out? Because right now it can be cold out. So, and that affects the strength of the bleach. Absolutely.
I mean, from the sounds of it, he may not be using a dedicated pump if he's got to do.
He's not using a strong
coat after coat after coat.
Yeah.
Or your bleach is dead.
Yeah. He's not using a strong enough mixture, and it could be because his bleach is dead, or he's not using a dedicated system. All those sorts of things that fall into play. So definitely. Well, Chris, we're right at about an hour. Man, I'm so glad you're with us. I cannot even imagine, all the thoughts that went through your head, your wife's head, thoughts that your kids and all that. Man, I'm very happy that you're with us. That's all I can say on that.
I mean, I can tell you when I went into that room and they laid me down in that stretcher and they told me what was happening and told me I had to be rushed in for surgery, I started crying like a little bitch. I couldn't even talk to my dad on the phone anymore because I couldn't get a word out because I was just like sobbing because at that point.
How is your dad now?
He's doing good.
He's doing good because you said he threw up, right off the bat, kind of thing, just sick to his stomach about maybe not being able to see you.
Yeah, so my mom, I guess I don't know where she was, but she hurt and she came down. And she's like, "What? What the hell is going on?" And then he was crying and stuff and he couldn't even get out what was going on. And then everybody, of course. So then I was able to, me and my entire family, mom, dad, wife, brothers, sisters, we all have a family group chat. So the only thing that I could get out going down the hallway was in the process of having a heart attack going in for surgery. I love all you guys. And at that point, they had to wait until I got out of surgery. And then the cardiologist after he washed up, he got my wife's number and was able to call her and get the news to all of them that, you know, I made it through.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. That's really amazing. Let me answer one more question here before we get out of here. This one says, how do you quote schools and colleges? Look, I'm gonna point you towards go to courses.spraywashacademy.com, courses.spraywashacademy.com. There is a class on there that's about government work. And that it kind of falls in the lines of schools and colleges and that sort of thing, because that's where I'd point you. Or, you know, we end up doing another segment on something like that as well eventually. And we've got all kinds of things out there. But courses.spraywashacademy.com. And I think that will help you with that. And then we'll end it with this one right here. What's that?
David, I will let you know that make sure you can even do the job first, because I know schools and government work, they have a lot of hurdles to jump before they even allow you to bid on something like that.
Sometimes. So Michael J, we'll end it with this one. You're still young. So you got this, and you're tough. You definitely have this. And man, Chris, I really appreciate your time. Hang out with me for a minute, but appreciate y'all for listening to us and for hanging out with us again this evening. And God bless. And if you don't have a life insurance policy, I really encourage you to get it. I also encourage you to get, you know, the death stuff, right? So when you pass away, that you don't have to, your family doesn't have to go looking for, you know, you can buy burial plots now or pay for your
you can prepay for everything now.
Yeah, you can prepay for everything and have it done so that really will take a burden off of friends and family and loved ones when you do pass. So appreciate y'all, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
See you guys.